Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at the 2018 CXC Paper 1 Mathematics Past Paper, CXC Past Paper. Without further ado, we'll get right into it. We'll start with question 1. It says, what percentage of 40 is 8? Alright, as we know, percentage means per 100. So quickly to work this out, we're going to go 8 over 40 multiplied by 100. Alright, so we can say 0, use up the zeros, 4 into 4 is 1, 4 into 8 is 2, and 2 times 10 would actually give you 20. So it's going to be 20%. Of course, you have several other options. There are some very common fractions that I would have spoken about in my previous multiple choice video, so please go back and watch that. Alright, question 2. Give the exact value of 6 divided by 0.0003. Now, of course, when dividing by decimals, you don't want a decimal inside of your divisor because that's going to make things difficult. So we need to get rid of this decimal from my divisor. So I'm going to need to move 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In other words, in order to move 4 places legally, I would have to multiply this by 10,000. Alright, 1 0 for every move. Alright, so this 0, 1 move come here. This 0 give me my second move. This 0 give me my next move. The final 0 give me my next move. But this is how it works. I can't just multiply the divisor by 10,000. I have to do the same thing to my dividend. So I also have to multiply 6 by 10,000. Alright. Now when I multiply 6 by 10,000, I'm going to end up with 60,000. So it's like I'm dividing 60,000 by 3. Now how does this work? Now 3 into 3 goes 1, 3 into 6 goes 2. Of course 3 into zeros would go 0. So I would put back all the zeros there. So here I'm going to end up with 20,000. Alright? And you didn't even have to manually work that out because we know that 6 divided by 3 is going to give me 2. Alright, let's take it down to question 3. Question 3 says 6 times 10 to the minus n is equal to 0.06. Now, once the power is negative, it indicates that the decimal would be moved to the left, as you can see with the 0.06. Now, of course, the n value is how many places to the left I would have moved. So, in order to get back to 6, as you could see, the point was originally here, and then you'd have to move 1, 2 places to the left to get where the point is. So it means that the n value must be 2. Alright, the minus sign is there already, so n is 2 because I'm moving 2 places to the left. Alright, moving down to question 4. Question 4 says Paula bought 1 7/8 meters of fabric to make a shirt, while Rita bought 1 3/4 meters to make a shirt. To make her shirt, how much more fabric did Paula buy than Rita? Alright, let's agree on a couple things here. We can both agree that they have the 1 meter in common, right? So that 1 meter would account for 1 meter, right? So we don't need to use that in the calculation. It says how much more, which suggests that I'm going to have to subtract. So I'm going to say 7/8 minus 3/4. Now there are several easy ways to do this. Normally when you're subtracting fractions that have different denominators, you normally find the LCM. But guess what? We can use the concept of equivalent fractions. Because if I can get these two to have the same denominator, it's going to work even better for me. Now, 3/4, you can change a fraction by multiplying the numerator and the denominator by the same value without changing the value of a fraction. So if I multiply that by 2 and this by 2, it's the same fraction. So I would have 7/8 minus 6/8. Now, why did I do that? I did that so we could have the same denominators. Now, 7 minus 6 is 1, and because the denominators are the same, we simply subtract the numerators and we keep the denominator. So it's 1/8 meters. Please understand why we could have ignored the 1. 1 minus 1 is 0, so we don't need to worry about that. Alright? And I've used equivalent fractions here. 6/8 is equivalent to 3/4, so I haven't changed the value of it. Alright, taking it down to question 5. It says the value of 29.94 times 0.5 is. Alright, when you multiply by something by 0.5, it's the same thing as saying times a half. Now 29 is basically 30, and half of 30 is 15. So in terms of making an approximation, the closest value I can get to this is 15 because there is no other value similar to it. Alright, I know it's going to be a little less than 15, but of course it's going to be close enough to 15 so that it can be rounded off to 15. So you have to remember that decimals, 0.5 has a fractional equivalent of a half. So it's like saying half of 29.9, which is almost half of 30. Alright, we know half of 30 is 15. So the best approximation here would naturally be 15. And all of the answers there would be ridiculous, alright? Question 6. It says there are 40 students in a class. The girls make up 60% of the class. 25% of the girls wear glasses. How many girls in the class wear glasses? Alright. So girls make up 60% of the class. So let's see how many girls we have first of all. So it's 60 over 100 multiplied by 40. Alright, quickly working with the zeros. 6 fours is 24. So we know that there are 24 girls. 25% of the girls wear glasses. Now remember now, there are certain things you should know, such as 25% is the same thing as saying a quarter. It's a quarter of 100%. So I could technically speak multiply 24 by a quarter. Alright? 4 into 4 goes 1, 4 into 24 goes 6. So your answer is 6. Alright? If you feel uncomfortable with that, you can always go with the 25 over 100 times 24. You're going to end up with the same thing. But now you have to know your timetable, such that we know that 25 times 4 gives me 100. Look at how I end up with the same thing. 25 into 25 is 1, and 25 into 100 is 4. 4 into 4 is 1, and 4 into 24 is 6. So 1 times 6 is 6, alright? But it pays to know the common fractions associated with various percentages. Alright, let's see. It says 3 times 7 plus 3 times 5 is the same as. Now, what is a common multiplier here? It's 3, which means you can take it out of the bracket. So I'm going to take out a 3. Alright, we'll take out a 3 like that. If I take out the 3, I'm going to have 7. Now, of course, a plus sign which is here would naturally go back, and you put the 5 there, 7 plus 5. So it's the same thing as saying 3 times 7 plus 5. So that makes my answer C. This is associated with the distributive law, right? Because if you were to reverse this, you'd go back to this. So it's 3 times 7 plus 3 times 5. That's pretty much reversing the distributive law, alright? Question 8. What is the highest common factor of the set of numbers 30, 45, 90? Highest common factor means the highest number that can go into all three numbers without leaving a remainder. Clearly 90 is out, alright, because 90 can go into a smaller number. 90 is larger than 30 and 45. Alright, so of course we want the highest number. When we look at numbers like 30, 45, 90, we can think of 15. And here's how we look at it. We know that 15 can go into 30. 30 plus 15 is 45, so 15 can definitely go into 45. 90 is really 2 times 45, so of course 15 can go into it. Alright, if 15 can go into 45, it can go into anything you multiply by 2. So I know that the highest common factor naturally here would be 15. Question number 9, taking this down. What is the least number of plums that can be shared equally among either 6, 9, or 12 children? The least number of plums that we can share among either 6, 9, or 12. Alright, good. Now, and of course, the critical term here is the amount that can be shared equally. Alright, now, of course, if I'm going to talk about what can be shared equally, I'm going to have to look at what is the lowest common multiple of all of these three numbers. What can all three numbers go into without leaving a remainder, right? So we have to find a multiple of all three. So let's see. 6, 9, 12. Can it be 27? No, because 12 cannot go into 27. What about 36? Alright, we know that 6 times 6 is 36. We know that 4 times 9 is 36. And we know that 12 times 3 is 36. So the least would have been B, which is 36. All right, because all of these numbers have to, technically speaking, for it to be divided equally, all it is saying that all of these three numbers have to be able to go into that number. All right, so it becomes the least common multiple. Very interesting way of asking a question. All right, number 10. It says if 3n is an odd number, which of the following number is even? All right, let's use logics here. 3 is an odd number. All right, I can do two things. I can either take 3 and add 1 to get 4, which is even, or I can take 3 and subtract 1 to get 2, which is even. So once you have an odd number, you just need to add 1 to it or subtract 1 from it, which makes the only logical answer here A, as in apple. All right, not so bad so far. Question number 11. It says, let's go. It says that if A is equal to the set of 3, 6, 9, then the number of subsets of A is, all right, good. Now there's a simple formula for the number of subsets. It's 2 raised to the number of elements in the set, which is 1, 2, 3. Now this is what we call indices. When you have 2 raised to the 3, it means you multiply 2 by itself 3 times. So it's 2 times 2 times 2. 2 2 is 4 and 2 4s is 8. The answer is D, as in dog. Alright. Question number 12. It says, in which of the following Venn diagrams is the shaded region A and B complement? Alright, here's the next way to read A and B complement so it makes more sense when you want to remember it. You want to find A, the intersection means and the complement means not. So it's A and not B. Alright, you want A and not B, which means you want A only, or A without the intersection. So let's see, in which case do I have A only? It can't be A. A is A union B because you have joined both set A and B. Alright, we don't need to go any further, it's B. Can't be C because the intersection here is also a part of B as much as it's a part of A. But the question says we want A and not B, which means we want A only, which makes this the most logical answer. Okay, let's see where we go next. Question number 13. It says, in the universal set, U equal 1 up to 6 and H equal 3, 4, 6, H complement. Complement means not. What is not in H, but you can find it in the universal set. Alright, we can say that 1 is not in H, but it's in the universal set. 2 is not there, but it's in the universal set, and 5 is not there, but it's in the universal set. So it's 1, 2, and 5. So I'm looking at option D, as in dog or donkey. All right, let's go up. Question number 14. All right. All right, so item 14 refers to the following question. So you have H. All right, so the universal set is students who play games, A students who play hockey, and V students who play volleyball. All right, so let's go down. The number of students in each set is indicated. How many students do not play volleyball? They don't play volleyball. V is for volleyball. All right, so if they don't play volleyball, one of two things will happen. If they don't play volleyball, they either play hockey only or they don't play any sports. Good. These 5 persons here play hockey only. These 3 persons play neither sport. Now, in all, these 2 sets would not play volleyball. The 5 here and the 3 here. Alright? So that's going to be 5 plus 3. And let me see what happens in that case. If I add 5 and 3, it's going to be 8. So the answer is D, as in dog. So let's go down and choose D in this case. Right, let's see. Right, question number 15. It says the simple interest on 600 for 4 years at 5% per annum is. Now, simple interest, please remember this formula. So principal multiplied by the rate multiplied by time in years all over 100. So I'm looking for 600 times 5 times 4. whichever way it goes. So 600 times 5 times 4 over 100. Option A, we don't need to go any further. All right, very important formula, we must know it. All right, question number 16. It says 3.25% of 500 is. Okay, let's see what happens. 3.25, let's put that as an improper fraction first. So it's going to be 4, 3 is 12, plus 1, 13. I'm going to have 13 over 4. All right, now percentage means per 100. So I'm going to have to put all this over 100. Now this is how it works. Because you have 13 over 4 already, and you're going to put it over 100, the 100 is simply going to come in the denominator here and multiply this 4 to give you 400. All right, multiplied by 500. So I'm going to go 0 takes out 0. This 0 takes out that 0. All right, so you're left with 13 times 5 over 4. So technically speaking, that is going to give me 13 times 5 is 65 over 4. All right, let's see how we work this out now. So 4 into 4 is 1. 4 into 6 is 1. Remainder 2, you bring the 2 in front of the 5. 4 into 25 is 6, because 4 6 is 24. You still have a remainder left. So you have 16.25. Alright, because you're going to have 1 over 4. 1 as a remainder over 4. So that makes it option D, as in dog. Alright, question 17. It says that Mrs. Jones has US $200 to change the Trinidad and Tobago dollars. The bank gives her $6.20 for US $1 and charges $2.50 for the transaction. How much does Mrs. Jones receive? Alright, so technically speaking, in order for me to calculate how much US in all is going to be changed, see, I can actually work out the conversion, right? So I'm going to have to multiply 200 by $6.20. And then of course I'm going to have to subtract the amount that the bank is charging. Okay, now what's the easy way to do this? We have $6.20 multiplied by 200. Now we don't have to worry about the zeros, we just need to worry about the 2. Now 2 times 6 is 12, and 2 times 2 is 4. Now what's the use of these two zeros? These two zeros are going to affect the point. So because we have two zeros, we're going to move the point 2 places. So 1, 2. So I'm going to have 1240. But of course, he's not going to get all this because they're going to take out $2.50 at the bank. Cool? So just imagine you take the $2.50 from the 40. Alright, 40 minus 2 is 38. And 38 minus a half is 37.5. So I'm going to have 1237.50. Good. So there are some easy ways that you can actually multiply. Or if you wanted, guess what? Here's the next way I could multiply it. I could go $6.20. Instead of multiplying by 200, I could multiply by 100, which means I move the 0 2 places. So I'm going to have 620. And because it was 200, I now multiply this value by 2. Alright, which would give me 1,240. And then I subtract the $2.50. So there are so many different ways we can approach a question. Alright, question 18. It says a man's basic wage for a 40-hour week is $160. He's paid $5 per hour for overtime. If he works 6.5 hours overtime in a certain week, his wage for that week is. Alright, so he's getting $160 because he's working a 40-hour week. No doubt about that. And he's going to get $5 per hour. Good? And he's for extra time, and he's working 6.5 hours overtime. So I'm going to have to multiply 6.5 by 5. What's the easy way to do that? The easy way is to multiply 6 by 5. 6 times 5 is 30. Good? And then you're going to say a half of 5 is going to give you 2.5. So 30 plus 2.5, which is 32.5. Alright, that's just an easy way of multiplying. So you multiply by 6. And then you multiply it by a half, which makes it a bit easier for you. So in all, this is what he's going to get for overtime. But you want to combine salary, which is the $160 for the basic wage, plus the overtime, which is $32.50. All right, so that's going to give me 60 plus 30, that's 90, so that's 192.50, which makes it option D. All right, question 19 says, a dinner at a restaurant was advertised at $6 plus 18% tax. The total bill for this dinner was, 18% is almost 20%, which is 1/5. So there are different ways you could look at working this out. But we know it's going to be paying the $6 and then the 18% tax. To get 18% tax, it would be 18 over 100 multiplied by 60. Let's work the zeros. Now we could probably use 2. 2 into 18 is 9, and 2 into 10 is 5. Now 9 times 6 is 54 over 5. Okay, let's see. Now 5 into 54, we know that 5 tens is 50. So I'm going to have 10, and I'm going to have 4 over 5. Now, how do I work this out? It's going to be 10 point something. Alright? So all we need to do is to add a 0 to the 4 and say 5 into 40 is 8. Alright? So it's $10.80. Alright, so now I'm going to have to add this back to the 60. Now 60 plus 10 is $70.80. So that makes it option B, as in boy. Let's go back up. Question number 20. It says a store offers a discount of 10% to a customer who spends more than $20. If a customer's total bill is $80, what will he actually pay? He's going to pay. All right, here's how we look at it. The price of something is always 100%, right? Now, if they take off 10%, it means that you're going to be left with 90%, since the full price is 100%. So you can say 90 over 100 times 80. Working the zeros, we're going to have 9 times 8 is equal to 72. So he's going to pay $72. If you don't like this approach, we can find 10% of 80 and subtract it back from the 80. Alright, that's the next way we could have actually done it. Alright. Question 21. A salesman sells a car for $10,500. If he is paid a commission of 5% for the first $10,000 and 8% on the remainder, then the total commission he receives is. So he's paid 5% for the first $10,000. Right? So 5 over 100 times 10,000. Alright, work the zeros. So we take out 2 zeros. So that's equal to 500. He's paid 8% on the remainder. Alright, if you take out 10,000 from 10,500, 500 is remaining. So it's going to be 8 over 100 times 500. Work the zeros again. 5 times 8 is 40. Now 500 plus 40 is 540, which makes it option B, as in boy. Question 22. Mrs. Jones buys a car for $64,000. The car depreciates by 20% in the first year and 10% in each of the following years. The value of the car at the end of the second year is. Alright, let's go. Remember now, the original price is always going to be 100%, but it depreciates by 20%. Alright, so you're going to have to take off 20% of this. Or we can look at it like this. This is 100%. You take off 20%, 80% is going to be left. So I'm going to go 80 over 100 multiplied by 64,000. Again, you work the zeros. Work the zeros. Now, look at what I'm going to do. Alright. And of course, you could also look at 20% as 1/5, which means that technically speaking, 80% would be 4/5. So there are easier ways to do the questions. We can use easy techniques to work out these questions. So it's important to know the common fractions associated with the percentage. It's very important. Alright, look at what I'm going to do now. Now, where the zeros are concerned, I'm just going to put back the 2 zeros. So you have a 0 for 80 and you have a 0 for 640. So I'll put that back. Put back those zeros. Now, 8 times 4 is 32. So you're going to put down the 2 and carry the 3. 8 times 6 is going to give you 48, 49, 50, 51. So you have 51,200. This is the value of the car at the end of the first year. Now for the second year, they're going to take off 10%. Alright? So it's going to be 10 over 100 multiplied by this. Where are the zeros again? They're going to take off 512. Alright? So that's one way to look at it. Or what I can simply do is simply say that that is the original price, and of course 90% is going to remain, but it depends on what you want to do. Alright, so I'm going to have now 10 times 512, which is going to give me 5,120. This is what is going to come off of the 51,200. Alright, and if I take off 5,000 of 5,120 of 51,200, then of course I'm going to be left with 46,080. So that makes it option C. So there are different ways to work it. Right? Tell you what, the next way you could have worked it, think of it like this. Instead of, I could have found 20% and subtract it, but what I'm saying, it's easier to work 80%. Alright? So it depends on what you find easier. When I took 10% of what was remaining of the 51,200, and then of course what I did was to subtract it from the 51,200. But remember now, the original value is 100%. So if you take off 10%, 90% is going to remain. So it all depends on what you find to be easier. Alright, let's take it down to the next question. Question number 23. It says 15p plus 55q minus 2 times 3p plus 4q. Now I'm going to have to do some distributing here. So I'm going to have 15p plus 55q. That minus 2 in front of the bracket is going to multiply everything inside of the bracket. Now minus 2 times 3p is going to give me minus 6p. And minus 2 times 4q is going to give me minus 8q. Looking at the like terms, 15p minus 6p is going to give me 9p. And 55 minus 8 is going to give me 47. So plus 47q. So that makes the answer A as in apple. Question number 24. It says, now look at this carefully. Now of course you have to work brackets first, but the negative of a negative is naturally going to be positive 2q minus 3q. You owe 3, you have 2, you give them the 2 that you owe them, you're still going to owe them 1. So it's going to be negative q. Some persons write negative 1q, but q without the 1 means 1q. Alright, so the answer is C, as in cat. Alright, let's take this down. Question number 25. It says 2 to the 6th power divided by 2 to the 2nd power. Laws are indices. You divide things that have the same base, you simply subtract the index. So it's 6 minus 2, which is 2 to the 4, which makes it option B, as in boy. Alright, 26. It says that if p over 5 is equal to 20, then p is. Alright, so if you're dividing by 5, you need to get rid of 5, you have to do the opposite, which means you're going to have to multiply both sides by 5. It says it's going to be 20 multiplied by 5. Alright, so these questions you can easily rush through. 27. When 7 is added to 3 times a certain number, the result is 22. So you're going to have 3 times a certain number you don't know, you call it n. 7 is added to 3 times a certain number, so it's 3n plus 7. It's equal to 22. We can see that the answer must be C, as in cat. 36 men can paint a shop mall in 25 days. How many days will it take 15 men to paint the mall if they work at the same rate? Now, first of all, we can find the rate that it will take 1 month. Alright, so if 36 do it in 25, then how long will it take 1 month? It will have to be 25 times 36. Alright. Of course, now this is no, I don't have to find the answer, because whatever answer I get, I'm going to have to divide that answer by 15. But I'm going to show you how this makes your life easier. Now remember now, it takes 25 days for 36 minutes. So for 1 month, it will be 25 times 36. Now, because you have 15 persons, whatever you get, you're going to share it up between 15. So you divide by 15. Now, because this is multiplication, I can reduce. So I could reduce 25 with 15 only because I'm multiplying. So I could say 5 into 25 goes 5. 5 into 15 goes 3. 3 into 3 goes 1. 3 into 36 goes 12. Now 5 times 12 is 60. So the answer is C, as in cat. Alright, question number 29. Let's see. It says if x is equal to 4, y is equal to 2, the value of. So I simply just need to replace x and y by what they are. X is 4, so I'm going to have 4 squared plus 3y, which is 3 times 2, all over xy, which is 4 times 2. We have to do index first. Now 4 squared means 4 times 4, which is 16. 3 times 2 is 6 over 8. Now 16 plus 6 is 22 over 8. Now how many times can 8 go into 22? It's 2. And the remainder, of course, is going to be 6 over 8. Which if we want, we can break down. Alright? What can go into 6 and 8? 2. 2 into 6, 3. 2 into 8, 4. So it's 2 and 3/4, which makes it D, as in dog. Alright, item 30 refers to the following diagram of a trapezium. It says the trapezium with a height h has an area of x squared. The equation that may be used to find x is, alright, first of all, let us talk about the area of a trapezium. Alright, so it's a formula you have to know. It's equal to a half the sum of the two parallel sides. The two parallel sides here would be 2 and x minus 4. So it's going to be x minus 4 plus 2 times the height, which is h. Alright, this is how you get the area. But we're told that the area is equal to x squared. Now go inside of the bracket now. Negative 4 plus 2 is minus 2. So it's going to be a half x minus 2 times h is equal to x squared. So that's what I'm looking for. Just look in the bracket with x minus 2. So it's a as in apple. What they did was to put the h over 2, which works. It's practically the same thing. Question 31. You could go for trial and error in this case if you wanted. You could even factor out the x minus 1 as it is common. There are so many things you could do here. Alright, but let's just expand it. So I could say 3x minus 3. Alright, be careful with this expansion now. Minus 2 times x is minus 2x. Minus 2 times 1 is positive 2 equals 7. Now 3x minus 2x is just x. And negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1 equal to 7. So I'm going to bring over the 1. It becomes 7 plus 1, which is equal to 8. So it's C, as in cat. Item 32, it says, in the circle above, and of course the diagram refers to item 32. In the circle above, with center O, the area is 20 square centimeter. The area of the minor sector, AOB, is, now of course if the area, the sector is a portion of the circle itself, depending on what the angle is, which we are given. So if we want to find what the area of the sector is, it's going to be 60. 1 revolution is 360 times the area of the complete circle, which is 20. So it's 60 over 360 times 20. We need not go any further. It's this. And you notice that they said the minor sector. So it's this sector right here. 33. It says 2,500 millimeters expressed in meters. Milli means 1,000. Right? Or 10 to the minus 3. So expressed in meters, which means that I'm going to have to divide this by 1,000. Alright, so I'm going from millimeters to meters. I'm going to have to divide by 1,000. When I divide by 1,000, I'm going to move 3 zeros back, 3 places back. So 1, 2, 3, which makes it 2.5 meters. Question 34. It says, shows art. So we're given the diameter of this cylinder right here, 6 centimeters, and the height is 20. The volume is, of course, The volume of a cylinder, let me remind you of the formula, is pi r squared times height. Now pi is in the formula, so you leave the pi. If the diameter is 6, the radius is half, so it's going to be 3 squared times 20. Now 3 squared means 3 times 3 is 9. So you have pi times 9 times 20. 9 times 20 is 180. So it's going to be 180 pi cubic centimeters. Alright. Going down, going good so far. Let's see what happens next. 35. This distance around a circular pond is 88 meters. The radius in meters is... Alright, first of all, let's talk about the distance around the circle. It's called the circumference. Now, the circumference is really 2 pi r. So 2 pi r equals to 88. Alright, so it says the radius is, so 1 r. So we're going to have to get rid of the 2 pi, which is multiplying, which means we have to divide both sides by 2 pi. So the radius is equal to 2 into 2 is 1, 2 into 88 is 44, is 44 over pi. And that is your answer. Question 36. An aircraft leaves A at 1600 hours, arrives at B at 1900 hours, 1930 hours, traveling at an average speed of 550 kilometers per hour. A and B are in the same time zone. The distance from A to B is equal to... Alright, so first of all, distance, D, is equal to speed S times time. Now let's see how long this took. 16 to 19 is 3 hours. Plus 1.5, so it's 3.5 hours. Right? 30 minutes is half an hour. So it's 3.5 multiplied by the speed, which is 550. Alright, now let's work this out. Here's how we can do it. 3 times 550. Alright, here's a lot of ways you can do it. 3 times 500 is going to give you 1500. 3 times 50 is 150. So that if you add 150 and 1500, that's going to give you 1650. Alright, so that's where you are at this moment. And then of course you're multiplying by 3.5, so you're going to have to multiply by the half. Bear in mind that 0.5 is the same thing as saying a half. So it's like saying half of 550. Alright, now half of 550 is 275. So I'm going to end up adding 275 to this. Good. You know how we add 0. 7 plus 5, that's 12. Carry the 1. 6 plus 1, 7, 8, 9. And you carry down the 1, so it's 1925, which makes it option D, as in dog. Moving down to question 37. 37 refers to the following figure. Alright, so it says the volume of the cuboid is 320 centimeter cube and the height is 5 centimeter. If the cuboid has a square base, what is the length of one side? Alright, so we are saying it has a square base, so we're going to assume that this is length and this is length. Now the volume of a cuboid is normally length times width times height. But because the width is length is the same, length is the same as the width because the base is actually a square. So you're going to have L times 5. Right? Now L times L is L squared times 5 is 5L squared is equal to 320. Start by dividing both sides by 5 over 5 over 5. L squared is equal to, let me go down a bit to get some more space. If I divide 320 by 5, 5 into 30, so this is how we do it. 5 into 32 is 6, right? Remainder is 2. You put the 2 beside the 0. 5 into 20 is 4. So L squared is 64. So you're going to ask yourself, what do you multiply by itself to get 64? 8. So it's 8 by 8 because it's a square. So the answer is A as in apple. Alright, 38. Alright, a square has the same area as a rectangle. the width of with sides of length 19 centimeter and 16 centimeter. What is the length of one side of a square? So they have the same area. So if I know the area of the rectangle, I know the area of the square. So let's go. So for a rectangle, the area is length times width. So I'm going to have 16 times 9. And of course, if you want to use my technique, it's no problem. Since 16 is really 10 plus 6, you could go 9 times 10, which is 90. Then 9 times 6, which is 54. And then you add 90 and 54. You get the answer, right? Or you do it the long way. 9 6s, 54, put on the 4. Carry the 5. 9 1's 9 plus 5 gives me 14. So I have 144. A square, all the sides are equal, right? So what do you multiply by itself to get 144? It's 12. So the answer is B as in boy. Question 39. It says the distance around a lake is 8 meters. On a map, this distance around the lake is represented by a length of 2 centimeters. The scale on the map is, so you want to know, alright, so you have 2 centimeters representing 8 kilometers. Now let's do this step by step. So you're really saying 2. Let's turn the kilometers into meters. 1,000 meters make a kilometer. So it becomes 8,000 meters. But you need to have the same unit to compare them. So I'm going to have to break this down now into centimeters. 100 centimeters make a meter. So I'm going to have to multiply this by 100. So it's 2. 100, you just add the 2 zeros. So it's 800,000. Good. Breaking this down. If I divide both ratio by 2, it still remains the same. Right? So 2 into that goes 1. 2 into 8 goes 4. And you simply bring back the zeros. So it's 1 to 400,000. 39 is D as in dog. Question number 40. Number 40. The median of the numbers, median saying that the number in the middle is. Now let's check if the numbers are in order. Because to find the median, the numbers must either be in ascending or descending order. They are in order, right? So you need the two middle numbers. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see if we're correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, there are 10 numbers. So 2 numbers are in the middle. Alright, see? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So once you have 2 numbers in the middle, you're going to have to average them. So 6 and 7. What's midway between 6 and 7? It's 6.5. So that makes the option 40, B as in boy or basketball. Question 41 refers to the following table, which shows the frequency of scores. Alright, the modal score is mode has the highest frequency. So you're looking at the scores up here. You're looking for the highest number of students. Now, the highest number of students is 12. Which tells me that the modal score, remember now, the 12 only tell you how many persons got that. But the score itself is 8. What they want is a modal score, so that's going to be 8. Alright, 42. The heights of 10 students are, and you have 10 heights given down there. What they're asking you for is a range. Range means the highest value minus the lowest value. So let's find the highest value. The highest value looks to me to be 170, and the lowest value looks to me to be 150. So to get the range, we subtract them, which is going to give me 20. So the range is B as in boy. Alright, question 43. We're almost there. It says, refers to the following bar chart, which shows the age of children who took part in a survey. Alright, let's take it down so we can see the answers. How many children took part in the survey? So the number of children is on the y-axis. So I'm going to have to add all the heights. So that's 3 plus 4, 7, plus 2, 9, plus 5, 14, plus 1, 15. Alright, going good so far. Let's see what comes next. 44. And it says, this is what it says. 600 students write an exam. The probability of a randomly selected student failing is 1/5. How many students will pass? Now, if 1/5 fail, it means that 4/5 will pass, alright? Because 5/5 make a whole times 600. Alright, you know how to break this down. 5 into 7 goes 1. 5 into 6 goes 1. Carry the 1 beside the 0. 5 into 10 goes 2. And 5 into 0 goes 0. Now 4 times 1, 20. Alright, 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4. So it's 480. Alright, good, good, good. Question 45. It says, refers to the following pie chart. It shows drinks preferred by children, by a group of children. Alright, AOC is the diameter. Alright, that's very important. And the diameter splits the circle into 2 halves. Alright, this is a question. If 12 students prefer lemonade, because this is the diameter, this would be a straight line. Straight line measures 180 degrees, so this is going to be 60 degrees. Then the total number of students is, alright, remember one complete revolution is 360. Alright, so how many 60s do you have in 360? So I divide 360 by 60, which tells me that I'm going to get 6. So I have 6 60s, 6 of this. Alright, 12 students prefer lemonade. So I'm going to have 6 of this thing. In other words, 6 of 12. Alright, so I'm going to say 6 times 12, which I know is going to give me 72. Alright, so that's done. Moving to question 46. So, item 46 refers to the following mapping diagram. The relationship best described in the mapping diagram is, alright, let's see what's going on here. You have these two going to that, you have these two going to that, and you have these two going to that. So it's basically many going to one. So it's kind of a many to one relation in this case. Alright, let's take this down to 47. Which the following line represents, and you read this from the middle. Alright, so let's start. X is such that x is greater than -2, so -2 can't be involved, but less than or equal to 4, so 4 can be involved. So I know I'm going to shade 4, but I'm going to left the circle for -2 open. So let's see. That looks to be D as in dog. Alright. Refers 48 and 49 refers to the following quadratic function. The maximum point on the function is, so that's the maximum turning point where the function turns, is at this little point right up here, and the coordinate would be 2 to 4. Alright, so clearly that would be that. Alright, the values of x at the point where y equal 4x minus x squared intersect y equals 0. Now, technically speaking, y equals 0, guys. Where y equals 0, we're talking about the x-axis. The x-axis is really y equals 0. Right? And this thing looks like it cuts the x-axis at 4 and at, let's see if we're saying this correctly, at 4 and at 0. Right, so let's go down and see. 0 and 4. So that looks to be option A, as in apple. Alright, let's go back up. Refers to the following diagram. The diagram best represents, so we have 0 go to 1, 1 go to 2, 2 go to 4, and 3 go to 8. So which of the following would be true? Alright, so we're going to have to use trial and error now. Would it be x plus 2? No, because if you add 2 to 0, you get 2. So that's out totally. Would it be x plus 1? 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, but 2 plus 1 is 3. That's out. Would it be 2 to the x? Alright, 2 raised to 0 is 1. Any number raised to 0 is 1 apart from 0. 2 raised to 1 is 2. 2 raised to 2 is 4, because 2 times 2 is 4. 2 raised to 3 is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So this is the option. Alright, so in this case, it's all about trial and error. 51. Which of the following set is represented by the function f of x is x squared plus 3, where x is 0, 1, 2, 3. So listen now, all you're going to do is square the values and add 3, which means you multiply them by themselves. So 0 times 0 plus 3 is 3. So all these are correct. 1 times 1, so that's 1 square means 1 times 1 plus 3. 1 times 1 is 1, 1 plus 3 is 4, so I'm looking for 1, 4. So it's either this or this. Let's go to 2. 2 squared, which is 2 times 2 is 4, plus 3, 7. So I'm looking for 2 with 7. I don't need to go further, it's D, as in dog. Now, in this case, it's always good to be able to see certain things like a Z angle. Once these two lines are parallel, you see the Z? I will know that both things inside of the Z's are equal. So even before you look at the options, what they're asking, you should know the answer. PQ and RS are parallel, which is imperative. Which are following best describe the relationship between P and Q. Alright, so they fall inside of the Z, which means that they have to be equal. Right, take this thing down a notch. Question 53 refers to the diagram which shows a translation. In the diagram, the translation by which AB maps onto A prime B prime is. Alright, so in other words, what do you do to the X value to get the current X and Y value? First of all, A was 2, then it became 4. A was 5, we had 5 for Y, then it became 6. So to the X value add 2, the Y value add 1. So clearly it's going to be 2, 1. Alright, so let's go down and find that. 2, 1. We don't need to go further than B, as in boy. Right, let's take this up. It refers to the following diagram. This is what we call circle theorem. Alright, if O is the center of the circle, then Y degrees is, and simply put, the angle at the center is twice the angle formed at the circumference. So if the circumference you have 50, twice that is going to give you 100 degrees. Alright, taking that down is going to be D as in dog. Right, you don't get any simpler than that. Formed from, of course, formed from the same arc here. So the angle at the center is double the angle formed at the circumference. So 55. A ship sails 8 kilometers due east from A to B. It then sails 6 kilometers due north to C. Which are following diagrams best illustrate this. So it's going 8 kilometers due east. So let me find the option with 8 kilometers. Alright, this is out. Alright, this is going 6 kilometers east, so that's out. This is out. Alright, because this is not going east. 8 kilometers east to B, and then 6 kilometers north, which makes it obviously would have to be C. Alright, let's take this down. 56. It says refers to the following diagram which shows a transformation. The transformation which maps PQR onto P prime, Q prime, R prime is, alright, we have several options here. We have, is it a translation? Can't be a translation because the orientation wouldn't be changed. It can be, it cannot be a reflection. Alright, now for a reflection in a line y equal x. When you reflect something in a line y equal x, the x value becomes the y value, and the y value becomes the x value. So if you have p here, which is going to be, let us say this is at negative 1, 4, it will go to 4, negative 1, which doesn't look to be the case, so it can't be a reflection either. We have a rotation about the origin of 180 degrees. Now, when you rotate about the origin 180, what really happens is the values that were become negative, right? So let's see if this happens. So this was negative 1 with 4 if we imagine that. So if it's a rotation about the origin, it should become positive 1, negative 4. Alright, so let's see P. This is a positive axis, this is negative axis, which makes sense. Positive 1, negative 4. So that makes it option A, as in apple. Alright, so whenever you rotate 180 degrees, the values that were just become negative. And you can, of course, you can see that it's upside down, right? Really indicating a rotation. Let's take this down. So question 57 refers to the following diagram. The diagram not drawn on the scale shows the angle of depression of x from y from 0 is 35 degrees. If x is 12 meters from y, the height yz in meters is. Alright, let's see. Now, once again, look for the z angle. Because if this is 35 up here, then this down here would naturally have to be 35 as well. Good? You want over here. So, relating opposite and adjacent, you can go tan. So, I can say that tan 35 equal opposite, which is yz, over adjacent, which is 12. Multiplying both sides by 12, 12 tan 35, which looks like option C as in cat. 58. Alright, so look here, by looking at this, clearly we see an enlargement taking place, right? So we know it must be about enlargement. Let's see, in the diagram below, the triangle ABC is mapped onto A prime, B prime, C prime by an enlargement from the center O. What is the scale factor? So in other words, what they're asking you, what do you multiply ABC by to get a second triangle? Just look at one length AC. Alright, and look at A prime, C prime. AC looks to be 2. A prime, C prime looks to be 4. What do you multiply 2 by to get 4? You multiply it by 2. So of course, the scale factor must be a positive 2. Right, taking it on to the penultimate question. Item 59 refers to the diagram of a triangle as shown below. Alright, it says in the right angle triangle above, which trigonometrical ratio is 4/8. Now 4/8, if I'm using angle Y, this is adjacent and this is hypotenuse. So adjacent and hypotenuse. Think about so, ka, twa. Adjacent and hypotenuse is cos. So I could go cos x. Cos x is there, which is correct. Or if I was down here, no, I was referring to y. Let me fix this up here. Let me fix this up. So if I'm using y rather, adjacent is 4 and the hypotenuse is 8. Alright, so it would be cos y. But we don't have cos y. So let's go down to x. If I'm using x, this is opposite and this is hypotenuse, which makes it sine. So it will be sine x. Opposite over hypotenuse. Do we have sine x? Yes, so the option is A. Alright, taking it down to the last question, and here AB and EC are parallel. Alright, C says it, that's very important. The value of BDE, where's BDE? Alright, let's talk about this. Now, of course, we can see the Z angle. Alright, this means that this is 40. Now we know that angles at a point on a straight line would add up to give me 180 degrees. So if this is 40, I know that around here must be 140 degrees because they must add up, or 180 minus 40. Alright, so that makes it D as in dog. And that's it. We're at the end of the 2018 CXC Mathematics Multiple Choice Past Paper. Have fun, guys.